Hello, my dear ones. You know, you never know what you run into when you have a lovely lady in there. She's such a beautiful lady, and it looks like the flesh-eating virus, but, you know, taking off part of her face. But, you know, everyone has to understand the lymphatic system and acids. When you understand the lymphatic system as we teach it, you will be miles ahead of every other human on this planet because you will know how to fix yourself, and very few out there do. So it's really a big blessing to learn about your lymphatic systems and to go after and fix them. And remember the kidneys and adrenal glands, I think it's in the drawer straight ahead. Excuse me just a minute. What do you need, triple A's? They have to be in there because I don't have them in here. Okay, look at this. This is from a plant that some beautiful YouTubers sent me. Red papaya plant. And that thing is huge, and I'm popping these things. This is a little one. I had a big one in here to show you, but somebody said, I'm going to take that. But this is incredible. These are good. Red papaya. And the tree is incredible because there's about probably 30 of them on it right now. That's like I can't even eat them all. So we give them on. They got a lot of people around here that love red papaya. I hope you're all doing well. I know some of you are working hard on your cases. Don't ever give up. There's no reason to give up. Sometimes your case is a little harder because of the genetic weaknesses. I was talking to a young lady this morning in that way. She is a trooper. She's been strong and focused, but she woke up learning about her lymph system. Her eyes were almost all brown, and now they're half and half, or even more, less brown than that. So did real good work. You know, those of you that have real chronic lymphatic systems, it might take a while, but don't ever give up because there's nothing else out there. And I think all of you are starting to realize that. So let's see if I can get a few more questions in because I have a client here in a half hour. So I only have a half hour. I'll see if I can get something done here. Hi, are you following the expanded discussion about hybridized fruits being lower in minerals? You know what? I'm not because I don't pay any attention to people that get caught up in crap like that because it's obvious that everything's hybrid. And I did a video about that, my dear one. Yes, I've been able to take grocery store fruit and rebuild just about anything you see out there in humans. Imagine we got tree-ripe fruit. Hybridized, I'm sorry. You can't get hardly anything that's not hybrid except the herbs. That's why the herbs are so powerful. So this idea, less minerals, not stuff, look at mother's milk. Look at the composition of human mother's milk and look at the 0.87% minerals. Less than 1% minerals in mother's milk. Wait a minute, these are the formulation. This is when the baby's going, and this is when you want the minerals, right? So this is just more of the mind throwing negativity into a beautiful awakening. And you're going to see that more and more and more as people just that have no control over their egos and their minds get into crap like this. Because you can have any argument out there you want. But let me tell you, if you go get these lower level grapes out of Walmart, you'll still be able to cure yourself. That's how powerful fruits are, even when they're less than perfect. So this kind of stuff, I don't follow this kind of stuff because I'm well seated in my butt. I probably detox more people than anyone else on the planet, or pretty close in terms of a single person doing that. And I've never had a problem with that. That then detoxifying intense with high fruit, monomealing and juicing can both give autointoxification reaction. What? So much toxins and acids floating about the body, reuptake, burn it, leaks into the body, hurting nervous system and other parts of you. Hi. Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Show her these some pictures in here because, you know, we have some tumors in there that makes her face look nice. Yeah. Yeah. So this is just more crap. This is just more crap, and more crap. You already have the toxins in you. And you're telling me that by eating fruit, you're going to stir them up and make for more damage. You know how stupid that is? It's just, people are not thinking. And you get some of these people that are pierced, or some of these people that think they are, and then they take off in tangents like this, and then everybody's going, oh, you know, and it's like, that's the problem. If this individual, whoever this group is that thinks that this is true, then go out and make a difference. Instead of sitting there griping about it, go out and start talking to tree growers and nurseries about how to do it better. That would be the better thing than sitting there pointing fingers and stuff like that when tons of people are getting their remedy through these kind of foods. They're not getting them through the vegetables. They're not getting them through anything else. So I don't know what you're talking about here and that sort of thing. You can't reabsorb what you already have in you. It's already there. And you can't make the lymph system dump it back into the blood because you're pulling the lymph system right through its own channel. The only way this can happen is still interstitially. But you got to understand that capillaries only allow certain things through them. Vascular capillaries, not lymph capillaries. Big difference of what the lymph capillaries will allow through them and the vascular capillaries will allow through them. Depending on your stored minerals, lifestyle, intensity, and duration of detox with predominantly hybridized fruits, risk to leave one to low in minerals, depleted and low energy, low function. Wrong. Nope. Matter of fact, you're talking about the foods that have the highest electromagnetic energy of all foods, even the hybridized ones. Fruits have the highest electricity of all the foods. You know why you feel weaker when you're on them? Because they're not stimulants. So the one thing they do is they flush the body, they get the kidneys flushed, and so everything starts, all that acid and all that pressure starts to get relieved. And guess what? Your blood pressure starts to do. It starts to go back to your genetic past. So whatever your genetic past was, that's what you're going to look at. And if you're looking at adrenals, you're going to look at the systolic, the upper blood pressure number. That the first high energy is from sugar, but in long run, many get to in low in the minerals. Minerals are not used for energy, honey. I don't know what you're talking about, Jessica. Minerals are not used for energy. Minerals are coenzymes. We don't need a lot of them. You know, if you're talking about real elementals, body can't use real elementals real well. Basically, gut for electrical stimulation and very low. A salt has more electricity than a mineral. I know there is the absorption, utilization, and so on, but my brain too says fruits are hybridized and produced in a different way than it grows in nature. That's not true. Everybody grows the way they grow. I mean, if you're depleting your soils for some reason, but trees do not deplete their soils. I'm an old farm boy. I can tell you always about that. And I'll tell you, trees do not deplete the soil, guys. No way. They give back. We had 200 and some acres into Christmas trees. And once they were all done, which I hated Christmas trees, worst, hardest job on the planet is to prune 200 acres of Christmas trees every other year and then mow 200 acres, hand mow them every other year. I'll tell you, that's the hardest work I ever done, I think, besides putting up hay and stuff like that. Hard work. But my dad wanted to plow all those stumps in from the trees and then heavily fertilize the ground. And I said, why would you do that? Trees give back. I said, why would you do that? And he did listen to me. And so he plowed all the stumps in and planted his corn. And he said, I haven't seen a yield like this since I was a young boy growing up. I understand we can have different field storage and be different sensitive. But still you are following and growing own new ideas according or stand consequent in what you recommend since earlier. I don't know where we're going here. I've known the whole time you said can slow it down with veggies and veggies build in general and strength specifically, and that they are higher in minerals and plays their key role for our health and healing. Not really for me. We're not vegetarians. We're not herbivores. Matter of fact, if you want to take a look at this, guys, man seems to be very ignorant, of course, in what foods he's designed to eat. So that's real easy to understand. So if you're going to claim that we're vegetable eaters, you must have a body that's capable of digesting them and eliminating them on time and in a proper manner. That is not what the human body is designed like. There's very little, there is semblance to herbivores, but not a lot. They grind when they chew. They grind that lettuce, so to speak, that grass. They grind it to break up the cellulose. We don't grind our food. They have multiple stomachs. We don't. So when you're talking about, and why would we invent juice extractors if vegetables were plenty, we could digest them real good and everything was fine? You know, and macrobiotics, they claim you can't eat vegetables raw. You have to steam them because they're better for you steamed. So you see this whole morass of different opinions because vegetables are very difficult. And most of you guys that have been on this program know that already. I've talked to many of you. And even going back eating salad sometimes is somewhat difficult. I'm just talking about detoxification. I'm not claiming that man at this level right now can become frugivores. But this whole idea of hybridized and all this stuff, I mean, you can get as perfect as you want in your mind, but then you start building ego. And then you start losing your concept of truth. And then you start pulling yourself into other levels and you start getting sick again. And I see this all the time with these people like this. And you just can't. You can't. You got to use your common sense, guys. You got to use common sense with this. There's no question farmers don't know how to grow their crops nutritively and properly, but there's other reasons to that. Not only the financial side of that, but of course the government's paying them for not growing, paying them for all kinds of things now. It's unbelievable. Paid my dad for not putting corn in. Can't believe my dad actually did that. Took government money not to plant. That's how they control prices, guys. Let me see. So I didn't just wave it off immediately. Felt like double checking. I understand we can have difficulty field storage and be difficult sensitive. I'm not sure, sweetheart, what you're talking about. But still, are you following and growing own new ideas according to Stan? Detox gears to go in. Well, whatever. It's enough to say, guys. Somebody's complaining about hybridized food, and the average person is eating dead animals, dead milks that have been ultra cooked to where they're nothing but now almost plastic. I mean, lecithin, margarine is what, 2 or 3 stages away from plastic, chemistry-wise. So, I mean, and you're complaining about a few fruits that might not be as healthy as maybe the originals. I mean, I just find that sort of argument baby stuff. We have serious stuff going on in this world. And if these groups feel like hybridized fruit is a problem, then go teach people how to grow their fruits properly. Yeah, I think if you go to most islands and you taste their mangoes, or go to India and taste their mangoes, pretty good. This is Mimi. How to deal with parasites. Yeah. I found a cyst on the back of my throat with small worm larvae inside. No kidding. Ooh. A few days later it was gone, so I must have swallowed it. But now keeps coming back in the same place. Well, that's your lymph system. All right, that's not a blood. See, remember, you have only 2 fluid-based systems in the body, blood and lymph. So you know that swelling you're feeling is a lymph pocket. Now, that could have just been, you ever get those tonsil seeds out, real nasty? That's acid, that's proteins. That's why it stinks so bad. That's what protein does inside of you. It putrefies hybridized fruit. But I tell you what I'd do. Parasite G. I do 4 capsules 4 times a day, probably for a good month. I would do Parasite M with that 4 capsules 4 times a day for the same month, and watch your stools. And if you do see worms and things like this, do it for a month, take a break for a month, and do it again for another month. Because you've got eggs that might have their time to come out again, and you want to get them too. At the same time, I'd be detoxifying. I would really be detoxifying because your body will kick out these worms. Matter of fact, what's so cool is raw foods are anti-parasitic. Isn't that cool? I just love that. That means there was somebody that had consciousness that created all this. Done 1 month of your parasite herbs and planning to do another. But I would kick that up because I have it at a real low dosage, not to, but if you really want to go strong, I told you, what was her name? Not Hilda Clark, but Hannah Kroger. And I think I was doing 20 wormwood capsules a day. So I think if you kick it up to 4 or 5, 3 or 4 times a day, and you do a little parasite imaging, you're going to about knock out anything. Working up to your recommended dose, but must go slow is very, okay. Yeah, work up then. Long-term chronic, I see. I'm concerned about wormwood toxins. Yeah, but like I said, I've done wormwood. I did 20 capsules of wormwood a day, and I didn't feel any kick from that. So I was worried about wormwood as well. Wormwood good for cancer stuff. I mean, using their verbiage. But yeah, wormwood. I've always heard wormwood is toxic at high dosages, but I've yet to see that. So I think if you keep it safe within 4 capsules, easy. I give that to everyone when I want to kick up a little more, and there's never any problems. What to do if it keeps coming back after the second round of herbs? Well, here's the other thing. Detox behind it. You have to detox behind it. Because all these guys love sewage. They grow in sewage. They grow on sewage. Fungus, bacteriums, worms, flukes. So, you just detox them out. Make a kill, detox them out. But, did you see that ER, Life in the ER the other night? It was all about parasites. These ER docs were freaking out, and I'm going, I had a real bad psoriasis case once. And she was a 19 single mother living with her parents. And so I started detoxifying her. And the next thing I hear, she's in the hospital. And I'm going, what? Well, I'll put it this way. I heard about it after she got out of the hospital. And she was an artist. And she had drawn all the parasites that she'd seen. And what we thought a pig tape, human tape, we saw pins, hooks, we saw all kinds of variety. I often thought, I told her, I said, you almost wrote a parasitology book right here. And we were talking. Remember years and years ago, and this is why you saw all the problems in Europe and you saw all the plagues. It was all toxicity, guys. And then after they started cleaning up their towns, that's when you saw everything clear up, not the vaccines. Towns used to have to be built by creeks so they could dump their sewage into the creeks to be carried away. They didn't have septic tanks in the old days. So they used the creeks. We had one in our town, and it was called Polio Creek. And all the parents told the children, never play in that creek. Well, a lot did anyway. And of course, they all were heavily wormed up. And that's what she said. I played in the town's sewer creek. And the ER doc thought she was nuts telling her this, called a psych doctor in on her. She couldn't give a stool sample for about 6 hours. Finally, after all this crap, she kept her in the hospital. They kept her in there 10 hours or something. Excuse me. Once they got the stool sample back from the lab, the ER doc went, oh, well, we will let you go. And it's like, why would you keep her? It's just that, why would you call a psych doctor in? This is the kind of consciousness medical doctors have to get rid of and start joining the parade. Everybody in the world knows about worms. Almost every country in the world teaches their children to deworm themselves, particularly the South Seas. And for us to be so narcissistic that, and I heard a comment on the ER doc the other day on this ER show, he said, well, there's really no parasites in Americans. And I was like, stupidity ranks on this planet. Holy crap. This is from Anna. Hi, Anna. Hi, Dr. Morse, and thank you for these videos. You're welcome, sweetie. I am 20 years old and was diagnosed with POTS. Let's see if I can get this right. Postural, Orthostatic, Tachycardia syndrome. I studied that when I was I worked in 3 hospitals, and I worked in the cardiac department. Well, it's actually cardiopulmonary departments. And it was fun. I like that. It was just fun stuff to do. And I had to take some national tests on this stuff, and I remember that, but I can't remember all what we medically look at POTS as. But I remember that. I've got a lot of the books down here on sign of rhythms and stuff like that. 3 years ago, my heart rate would always be somewhere between 130 and 180 unless I was lying down. Well, that's true. A lot of things are very positional. I was so exhausted I was in bed most of the time. Now I take beta blockers every day and would love to get off them somehow. What would be the cause of POTS? I feel I have some adrenal issues as I can't sleep at night. I am vegan and eat mostly fruit. Excellent. Okay, so here's the thing. Can't sleep at night might not be the adrenal gland problem. That might be up here in your pineal gland. Get your picture of your eyes and take a look and look at that upper bowel area right above the pupil, and then you'll see your pituitary area. You got to get a chart to look at. This POTS could come from several places, and actually could be coming from up in the pituitary area, tripping up the thyroid and then tripping up the heart. That is possible. You also could have tripped up the thyroid, tripping up the heart. Now, what could do that? Inorganic iodines. Iodines, isolates of iodines that have trapped into thyroid tissues. Acidosis in the thyroid tissue creating inflammation which stimulates instead of suppresses at this time. Stimulated pituitary gland from acidosis. Acids stimulate, not all deteriorate. They will deteriorate eventually, but hyperactivity is very much a protein acid problem. Very much. Everything, though, hyper goes hypo. Everything breaks down eventually. But hyperactivity it can be a big sign of acidosis, big time. So, I would definitely get in and detoxify my body big time. I get into my bowels because here's another interesting thing. Where at mid-descending colon is where your heart came off when you were in the embryonic stages. And that part of that colon, if it's inflamed or spastic, could send that to the heart. I don't know so much in POTS, but certainly in other things, in other ways. Arrhythmias and things like that, and I suppose in any type of tachycardia, probably. I always looked at the thyroid and tachycardia, but again, and you could have a hyperstimulated adrenal medulla, which would in turn would hyperstimulate your neurotransmitters, which could hyperstimulate or create tachycardia, but that to me would be a stretch because your systolic blood pressure would be very high then, and you haven't mentioned that. So there's several ways, and the only way to correct something like this, if you can't go like that and put your finger on it, now your eyes would be a big clue here. Your eyes could be a great big clue, sweetheart. So that's where I would go to look again. Look at the heart area, see if you have genetic weaknesses, which could translate into neurological weaknesses into the heart, or anything that stimulates the nervous system to the heart. Actually, the stomach could be a problem. You know, remember, your autonomic nerve brain is your stomach and solar plexus. And you can have stomach problems and have heart problems. Stomach problems and can't take deep breaths or shortness of breath. You know, so there's a lot of connecting links here. So you go after it all. You want to get into the kidneys, get the kidneys and adrenal glands. You want to check your blood pressures, both sides, right? If they're low, added licorice to your adrenal glands. Check your basal temperatures. See if your thyroid is hyperactive. You would know that because your eyes would start bulging a little bit, especially with an attack like this, and you would find yourself a little hyperactive. So you haven't mentioned that either. So it could be many different reasons. Your eyes would probably give a real good look at that. But no matter what, I would detoxify my head. The sleeping part could also be another little bitty look at, well, if you're a pineal gland, your pituitary is almost always involved. So that could even be coming from that. Even coming from your head here, your pituitary. So that's why you get in, you detox the sinuses, you get your GI tract cleaned up, you get your kidneys, you get your adrenals, you get everything cleaned and balanced. Any metals or anything that's creating hyperactivity, that comes out in the lymph detox, and everything goes back to normal. That's the only way I have been able to fix any POTS or anything dealing with arrhythmias. Yeah. Now, you're on the right program, that's for sure. But check those things out. Check your blood pressures, your basal temperatures. Start seeing where your stats are off a little bit, maybe. If not, send your ice to me. If you got a full blood workup from the lab, send it to me. And put your name on it and make some comment on it. And let Chris give it to me, and I'll look at it. This is Robin. Hey, Robin. I have been taking requip for over 7 years for RLS, Restless Leg Syndrome. All right? This is ropinerole or something like that. It is a dopamine agonist that is also used to treat Parkinson's. I went out of town and forgot to bring my prescription with me. I was completely unaware of the withdrawal symptoms that would endure. Yeah, that's sad. It was like cocaine or any other stimulant like that, or even a suppressive. You know, it's like a steroid. It's the same way, man. You'll go into some serious stuff. So this guy went into, look at this, within hours of my missed dose, I was having extreme muscle jerks, panic attacks, and absolutely no sleep for the term of my trip. Isn't that sad? Well, the next time that happens to any of you guys, remember our antispasmodic. Give us a buzz, we'll ship it to you. Antispasmodic, or go into a health food store somewhere and ask for an herbal antispasmodic. And start taking it, dosages out. You can take it every 2 hours if you want to. That's what I would do to buffer this, because you can't come to cold turkey, and I know you forgot it. But find an antispasmodic, and that'll do it, because that's just what we're talking about. It's an antispasmodic. And for me, I don't believe in going that route, because you never play with your neurotransmitters. Never do that. If you have restless leg syndrome, go to your lower back. Go to your kidneys and start fixing that. And that'll start pulling the acids out of the lower back. It'll start pulling all the acids out of the tissues, and neurologic, everything will settle right down. But this is hooked to your back, man, and you've got to fix that. And this is hooked to the kidneys, it's hooked to your lymph system, this whole thing, even though it's neurological. And you can take an antispasmodic to help it, you want to fix it. Because pretty soon your whole myelin sheaths and everything will start going down. I've read that withdrawal can last for months. I must taper off. Please advise. Absolutely. Titrate off. It's called titration. So titrate off slowly if you want. Go every other day. However you wish to do that. Ask your medical doctor. But for me, I'm backing that up with herbs and programs. I'm going after myself. When we do that, your kicks are very minimal, especially if you go cold turkey. Because some people, against our advice, go cold turkey off of these things. We don't advise these type of meds to go cold turkey because it's just what you see. But again, what does that tell you about the action of this pharmaceutical? You see what it did? A major suppressant. So ask yourself, if you want to suppress these symptoms that you've had, the tissues related to them, I mean. You know, you relate to the tissues here. Where's the anxiety coming from? The adrenal. So that means, and of course dopamine is produced where? In the adrenal. So it's an adrenal suppressant. Nobody wants to suppress the adrenal glands. That's crazy. But get an antispasmodic, my friend, and use that while you're increasing your adrenal power, your kidney function, your brain and nerve to strengthen the myelin sheaths. You know, go after your body. Clean it up. Get that inflammation out of the lower back. That's kidneys. You've got to fix the kidneys to fix the lower back, to fix the restless leg syndrome. And that's that whole lower back, not just L4 and L5, that whole lower back. And then you'll be okay. Again, you guys get used to pictures of your eyes, and you'll really get off on that, because that shows you everything. But no, everything is related in the body. Everything is just interrelated. Everything is just like we are all related. Everything's related to the one. Dr. Morse, please first let me tell you what. Oh, thanks, honey. Who is this? This is Canada. Oh, this is Kim. Hey, Kim. My question is in regards to tendonitis. Is that what I'm talking about? My husband suffers from it. Oh, I think I addressed this yesterday. I did. Kim, I addressed this on another video yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And my time is almost over, so I'll hurry and get as much as I can here before she comes in here. Okay. I am a 30-year-old female. Almost 4 years on the raw food diet. Yeah. My kidneys are filtering good. Oh, honey, that's excellent. At 30 years old, with genetics like they are, good, good. I had a lot of detox symptoms, but I have always problems with iron deficiency. Interesting. Adrenals. I had this problems ever since, and I used to take the iron supplements. Adrenals. Now I drink a lot of green juices, eat a lot of greens, fruits, and sprouts, so I don't know why I still have adrenals. What should I do? Adrenals. Steroids. You've got to get your adrenals healthier, honey. Get into your adrenal glands and get them healthier. Clean the liver all you want and all that. Get the spleen cleaned out, the pancreas, get your bowels cleaned up. Get all that done. Go on the liver formula. All the liver herbs are extremely high iron herbs. Oregon grapefruit, burdock, yellow dock, all high iron herbs. But it's not about how much iron you take. It's what you metabolize. And you need a adrenal steroid to metabolize. And you've seen here that you're dealing with adrenals. That's what I would do. So I'd go after it, my dear one. But you want to clean your liver, clean your bowels for absorption. You want to get your adrenals up and normal blood pressures. It's hard to determine whether your mineral steroids are up, except for what you're seeing in utilization, I guess, in blood works and things like that, and hair analysis and stuff like that. So you got a couple things to think about, and that would be digestion, right? Absorption, right? Utilization, and that's where I think your problem might be. You could have a little of the other ones too, but you go after those adrenal glands and everything, because we get these type of people in here all the time, low irons or too much. Hey, this is Tom. Hey, Tom. Hi, Dr. Morse. Just get right to my question. Okay. Right now, I have been working with my adrenals and kidneys pretty hard. Good man. I am water fasting by drinking herbal teas only. That's a good idea. I only eat a couple of fruits a day now, nothing else. I am feeling better and better. Feeling good. This whole idea that you need massive amounts of nutrition and minerals doesn't sack, does it? No. You'll see that a lot of you guys, when you start fixing everything gets fixed, the adrenals come up, everything gets come up. On fruit, you can't even control the energy. That's why I don't firmly believe that man can become a fruitarian yet. His true nature, because he hasn't got the consciousness to handle it. It's a sad thing to have to say, but it's so, so true. I have to say it. I couldn't handle it. Too much energy, too much awareness, too young. Now you can give it to me all you want. But back then, I was frying. Now, let's see right here. Good. With this diet, I have gotten some pretty reddish brown urine. Wow. That means you probably have either iodine or sulfur outside of the bowels. Take a picture of your eyes and take a look at this, Tom. See if you can see any other colors anywhere. Because when you see urine turning colors, that means this stuff probably made it to the lymph nodes. And you'll see that in eyes where you've been sulfured up or chemicaled up for years and years. If your body's halfway working, you'll see it in your eyes pulling toward the lymph nodes so it can get to the kidneys and get out. When you start tracing all this, everything starts, oh, I see. And everything starts showing you the kidney connection to the lymphatic system. Amazing. With sparkling. Wow. You know what? I can't explain this. No, not blood. I wouldn't say blood. If you worry about blood in the stool, you could blink. Where's this picture? I want to show this picture. There's no faces to this. I want to show you a detox healing crisis. And there's no name on here, so I don't think I'll get in trouble for that. See that leg? That's a detox healing crisis. See how thick the blood is down the leg? How thick? If that was flowing through his veins, he'd be dead. Or her. I can tell you which one. But, wait a minute. I guess this. urine was sparkling. You could have, I don't know, there's so much chemistry we ingest. Some of it's neon, who knows, man? I don't know what to tell you. I mean, some chemistry sparkles and harkles. I don't know, but it's good you got it out there. If you fear that you have blood in the urine, go to a lab and do a urinalysis for you real quick and see if you have blood in the urine. But it could be old blood, or it could be old, your kidneys will bleed. When you eat proteins, you have a high chance of bleeding the kidneys. The proteins are rough on the body. You think proteins are our next best friend, you have a lot to think about. They're not our next best friend. We are a carbon species. Sugars. People go crazy when you mention sugars, and it's like people don't listen. Someone says sugars, then they lump everything into sugars. Well, let's lump everything into protein then. So you can't do stuff like that. You got to be realistic about life and on point. When you say something, be on point about it. Because there's a lot of groups and a lot of people out there coming with all kinds of things. But remember this, you're in a world of duality, my friends. And the negative forces will use you if you open yourself up to it. The negative forces will use anything and anybody it can if you open up to it. So you've got to remember to always be as much conscious aware as you can, so when others come in, or even when others physically try to influence your consciousness, you're a gatekeeper. And you don't allow the negative forces to come in and take you off point, because it will. That's the game here, if you hadn't noticed. So be very careful about that. And I'm here to protect you as well, and so is a lot of other people, let me tell you. So, I have no pain. No, that's probably old stuff coming out. If you've got blood in the urine, you'll see it a little bit. But if you worry about that, run to the lab and get a urinalysis. My skin was filled with high cortisone drugs in my teens, psoriasis. So you know your lymph system's a mess, Tom, by the fact that you had psoriasis. My PhD, my father, I will be sending more questions. Okay, good. I've got to run right now. I'm getting calls. So I love you guys, and take care of yourselves. Don't let anybody take you off point. You know what you know, truth. You know truth, and some people like to nip at that and break it down, and it's like, they're the losers, not you. And don't forget, you young guys and gals, don't be afraid to stand up for what you're doing and teach others how to get healthy too. They'll love you forever for it. All right. We'll see you in the next video. Love you guys.